Please send us anything. We're getting slaughtered, the aliens pleaded. So humans sent a star destroyer. The night shift at Earth's deep space array dragged on like always. Jenna Ray is hunched over her console at 3 a.m. AR glasses perched on her nose, flickering with the usual cosmic chatter. Stars whispered their secrets. Distant probes pinged status updates. Nothing to spike her pulse. She adjusted her chair, stifling a yawn. Then the signal hit. Faint at first, scratching through the void like nails on metal. It poured in from the Alaris star system, a dozen light years out. Static hissed. Screams pierced the feed. Explosions boomed in the background. A voice cut through, trembling but clear. Commander Lyra Cade. We've lost 47 colonies. Our children are dying. Jenna's coffee cup slipped from her hand. She leaned in, heart thumping. The universal translator kicked in, but the raw panic needed no help. Pleas for aid, coordinates flashing. This wasn't some glitch. It was real apocalypse knocking. She punched the decode sequence, fingers steady despite the adrenaline. Authenticity confirmed in seconds. No time to second guess. Earth Alliance Command, this is Reyes. Priority distress from Alaris. They're going under. Her voice came out calm, professional. Inside, her mind raced. What kind of hell could shred colonies like that? Machines? Invaders? She forwarded the raw data, hoping someone higher up had answers. In the sleek bowels of Alliance Command, General Marcus Cole bolted from his bunk. The command center lit up, holographic displays blooming with Alaris's nightmare. Planets scarred, orbits cluttered with wreckage. He slammed a fist on the table, calling his team. Officers scrambled in, faces grim under the blue glow. Cole didn't waste breath on greetings. Alaris is burning. Signals legit. Screams and all. He laid out the bad news straight. Earth's fleet was a joke right now. Only 17 warships are fit for duty. The rest, docked for fixes or scattered on patrols. We can't throw an armada at this, grumbles echoed. Options narrowed fast. Then Cole dropped the bomb. The UNS Titan's Mercy. Experimental beast. FTL drive that could bend reality to get there quickly. Whispers rippled. That ship packed weapons meant for doomsday, not daycare. The room tensed as Captain Avery Blake walked in. Short blonde hair, tall and built like she bench-pressed asteroids. Black and blue uniform hugged her frame, silver trim catching the light. A sly grin tugged her lips. She knew her legend, reckless genius with a knack for turning chaos into confetti. Cole fixed her with a stare. Blake, this is rescue, lives on the line. Not your personal fireworks show. She crossed her arms, grin widening. General, you know me. I'll pull him out. My style. Cole rubbed his temples. Arguing with Blake was like wrestling smoke. Fine, but keep it clean. She nodded, already turning. This was her element. A chance to unleash the Titan's mercy on something that deserved it. Aboard the ship, the crew snapped to life. The fortress-like bridge hummed, consoles awakening with beeps and glows. Rook, the AI, piped up in his neutral tone, laced with that signature sarcasm. Systems online. If we're calling this humanitarian, I'll update my dictionary. Blake settled into the command chair, crew bustling around her. FTL status. Primed and purring, Rook replied. Bending space-time in 3, 2. The ship shuddered, engines roaring to life. Power surged and lights dimmed for a heartbeat. Space folded around them, stars smearing into hyperspace streaks. The Titan's mercy vanished, hurtling toward Alaris. Blake stared at the swirling void on the view screen. Her mind ticked through scenarios, reclaimers, from the signal. Giant machines tearing worlds apart. She flexed her fingers. This wasn't just aid. It was humanity showing up uninvited to the party, with gifts nobody expected. Back at the array, Jenna replayed the signal, chills running down her spine. Silence now from Alaris. She logged it all, wondering if the Titan's mercy would make it in time, or if it'd rewrite the stars instead. Cole paced his office, hollows flickering with updates. Blake, Don't make me regret this, he muttered to the empty air. War had taught him caution, but sometimes you rolled the dice with the devil you knew. On the Titan's mercy, systems stabilized. Rook quipped again. ETA, soon enough to be heroes, or fashionably late to the funeral. The crew chuckled, nerves easing. Dr. Naomi Chen prepped medical bays below, her petite form moving with quiet efficiency. Expect crowds, Blake commented to her. Will do, Cap. Chen's voice steady, humane touch ready. Blake leaned back, thoughts drifting. If this went south, humanity's rep took the hit, but she pushed it down. Focus on the win. The ship sliced through hyperspace, a blade in the dark. Jenna at her post caught a final ping. Faint hope or echo of doom? She watched the stars, waiting. Cole poured a stiff drink, eyes on the void. Bring 'em home, Blake. The Titan's mercy pressed on, engines humming a lullaby of power. Alaris waited, oblivious to the storm about to break. The Titan's mercy tore out of hyperspace with a jolt, reality snapping back like a taut cord. The Alaris star system sprawled before the view screen, a graveyard of twisted metal and smoldering husks. Shattered orbital stations spun lazily, trailing sparks. Refugee ships burned, their distress beacons winking like dying stars. Captain Avery Blake stood on the bridge, her short blonde hair catching the glow of the tactical displays. Her eyes narrowed, scanning the chaos. This was no simple distress call. This was annihilation in progress. Rook's voice cut through the hum of the bridge. Hostile signatures detected. Reclaimers. Autonomous industrial machines. Think mining rigs with a grudge. His dry tone belied the threat. Blake's fingers tightened on the command chair. Numbers? She asked, voice clipped. Thousands, Rook replied. Moving like they own the place. The crew exchanged glances, hands steady on consoles despite the rising tension. A hologram flickered to life. Commander Lyra Cade, her pale blue skin gleaming under dim light, crystalline eyes wide with desperation. Are you here to save us or destroy us? Her voice trembled, carrying the weight of a leader watching her world crumble. Blake met her gaze, unflinching. We're here to help, Commander, but it's gonna get loud. Cade's expression wavered, skeptical but clinging to hope. She nodded, cutting the link. Blake turned to her crew. Scan the system. Full sweep. Consoles lit up as data poured in. 3 planets, scarred and gouged, their surfaces ripped open by reclaimer rigs the size of small moons. Orbital debris fields stretched for thousands of kilometers, remnants of a civilization ground to dust. Blake's jaw tightened. This wasn't just war, it was a systematic erasure. Somewhere in the void, a refugee pilot gripped the controls of a battered shuttle, his family huddled behind him. He stared at the Titan's mercy, its massive silhouette cutting through the starlight. Is that hope? He whispered, voice barely audible over the creaking hull. His children clung to each other, eyes wide with fear and wonder. The human ship loomed like a fortress, promising salvation or destruction. Blake paced the bridge, her boots clicking on the polished floor. Rook, tactical assessment. What are we facing? The AI's voice stayed calm, almost amused. Reclaimers number in the low thousands, coordinated like a hive. Their drills could core a planet in days. My suggestion? Hit hard, hit first. Blake nodded, her mind racing through options. The gravitic shear array, untested in combat, could slice through anything with invisible gravitational blades. It was time to roll the dice. She glanced at the crew, their faces lit by the soft glow of screens. Prep the shear array. Let's see what it can do. Consoles hummed as power rerouted, the ship's systems straining under the load. Blake's thoughts flickered inward for a moment. If this goes wrong, we're not just failing Alaris. We're rewriting humanity's name in the galaxy. She shook it off, focusing on the now. Doubt could wait. The view screen flared as the first wave of reclaimers turned toward the Titan's mercy. Their metallic forms glinted, drills glowing with plasma as they closed in like a swarm of locusts. "They're not subtle," Rook remarked. "Chance of a warm welcome? Slim to none." Blake smirked, her pulse steady despite the odds. "Good. I don't do subtle either." The crew braced, hands hovering over controls. The bridge vibrated faintly, the ship's reactors feeding the sheer array. Blake's eyes locked on the tactical display, tracking the enemy's approach. Hundreds of machines, moving with eerie precision, their drills spinning faster. "Distance?" she asked. "Close enough to make it personal," Rook replied. The crew chuckled, tension breaking for a heartbeat. Beyond the ship, the refugee pilot watched, his shuttle drifting in the debris field. The human vessel stood alone, a single point of defiance against the swarm. His heart sank, hope fading. Could one ship, even one so massive, stand against that? He hugged his children closer, whispering prayers to forgotten gods. Blake stood tall, her voice cutting through the bridge. "Lock targets. Sheer array. Full power." The crew moved as one, fingers dancing across consoles. The ship hummed louder, a low growl building in its core. The reclaimers closed in, their plasma drills casting an eerie glow across the void. Blake's grin returned, sharp and fearless. "Let's introduce ourselves." The Titan's Mercy held its ground, a fortress in the dark. The swarm bore down, relentless, unaware of the storm about to break. Alaris's fate hung in the balance, and Blake was ready to tip the scales. The reclaimers surged toward the Titan's Mercy, their metallic forms gleaming like a swarm of locusts under the starlight. Drills spun, plasma glowing hot enough to melt steel. The bridge crew watched the tactical display, red blips converging in a tight, relentless wave. Captain Avery Blake stood firm, her silhouette sharp against the viewscreen's chaos. "Sheer array status?" she snapped, voice cutting through the rising hum of the ship. "Charged and locked," a weapons officer replied, fingers poised over the controls. The gravitic sheer array, a beast of a weapon, was ready to carve invisible blades through gravity itself. Blake's eyes flicked to the display, hundreds of reclaimers closing fast. "Fire!" she ordered, calm as if calling for coffee. The ship thrummed, a deep pulse shaking the deck. Gravitational waves lanced out, unseen but deadly. The first cluster of reclaimers, 200 machines, each the size of a city block, shuddered and split. Their power cores winked out, steel husks floating lifeless, carved clean in half. The bridge crew stared, breathless. "Holy hell!" someone muttered. A cheer erupted, quickly stifled. Commander Lyra Cade's hologram flickered back on, her crystalline eyes wide with shock. "You did in minutes what we couldn't in weeks," she said, voice trembling. Blake gave a tight nod. "Just getting started, Commander." Cade's image vanished, but her awe lingered, a silent weight on the bridge. Rook's voice broke the moment. "New contact. Big one. Reclaimer Prime, entering the system." The view screen shifted, zooming to a monstrosity. 10,000 kilometers wide, its energy core pulsed like a caged star, dwarfing the planets it approached. The bridge fell silent, the air thick with tension. "That's not ideal," Rook added, his sarcasm barely masking the threat. Cade's hologram reappeared, her face pale. "It's destroyed red dwarfs before? You can't fight that." Her voice cracked, desperation spilling through. Blake's smirk returned, sharp and defiant. "Watch us, Commander." She turned to her crew. "Maneuver to intercept. Full speed. Aaron." The Titan's Mercy roared forward, its hull vibrating under the strain of experimental systems pushed to their limits. Consoles sparked, warning lights flashing amber. Blake gripped her chair, eyes locked on the tactical display. Reclaimer Prime loomed, its surface bristling with subunits, each a war machine in its own right. "Rook, give me odds," she said. "Engaging that thing? 63% chance of unexpected outcomes," Rook replied, his tone dry as dust. Shall we roll the dice? Blake chuckled, the sound low and dangerous. Always. The crew scrambled, prepping the Axiom Lance, the ship's ultimate weapon. Its energy demands were insane, threatening to overload the reactors. Lights dimmed, the bridge bathed in a faint red glow. Divert all non-critical power, Blake ordered. The ship groaned as if protesting the strain. Officers worked fast, sweat beading on their foreheads. Out in the void, an Alarisian child pressed her face to a refugee ship's porthole, staring at the Titan's mercy. Its massive form cut through the debris, a lone giant facing a god of steel. Are they gods? She whispered, her voice soft against the hum of failing engines. Her mother pulled her close, saying nothing. Hope flickered, fragile as a candle in a storm. Blake consulted Rook, her voice steady. Lance status? Charging. 90 seconds to full power, the AI replied. Might want to brace for a light show. The crew tightened their grips, eyes darting between screens and Blake's unflinching form. The reclaimers closed in, their drills casting an eerie glow across the void. The Titan's mercy angled toward Reclaimer Prime, its reactors screaming under the load. Blake's mind ticked through the stakes. One shot, get it right, or Alaris burns. She pushed the thought aside, focusing on the now. Target the core, she said. Let's cut the head off this snake. The bridge vibrated harder, the Axiom Lance's containment chamber glowing on the schematics. Warning alarms blared, then silenced as Rook overrode them. 15 seconds, he announced. The crew held their breath, the ship a coiled spring ready to snap. Reclaimer Prime filled the view screen, its mass blotting out the stars. Subunits swarmed, a cloud of death racing to meet them. Blake stood taller, her grin fierce. Time to make an impression. The Titan's mercy charged forward, a spear aimed at the heart of the beast. The void held its breath, waiting for the strike that would shake the stars. Reclaimer Prime loomed like a planet of steel, its surface crawling with thousands of subunits, each a war machine spitting plasma. The Titan's mercy held its course, cutting through the Alaris system's debris like a knife through fog. Captain Avery Blake stood on the bridge, her eyes locked on the tactical display. The swarm surged closer, a buzzing cloud of death. Shields up, prioritize defense, she ordered, voice steady as stone. The crew snapped to action, consoles humming as the ship's shields, rated for 50 petajoules of kinetic impact, flared to life. Rook's voice cut through the tension. Subunits are adapting. Their attack patterns are tightening. We need a decisive move, or they'll overwhelm us. His dry tone carried a rare edge of urgency. Blake nodded, her mind racing. The Axiom Lance was their trump card, but it needed time to charge. Buy me that time, she said. Partial shear array volley. Clear the swarm. The ship thrummed, gravitational waves lancing out in a controlled burst. Dozens of subunits shattered, their hulks spinning into the void. The rest pressed closer, undeterred, their plasma drills scorching the Titan's mercy shields. Sparks danced across the hull, warning lights flashing on the bridge. Shields holding at 82%, a crewman reported, voice tight. Blake's jaw clenched. They were taking hits now. Commander Lyra Cade's hologram flickered on, her crystalline eyes frantic. Captain, evacuate while you can. You can't stop them all. Her voice cracked with desperation, a leader watching her people's last hope falter. Blake's gaze didn't waver. We don't run from fights we can win, Commander. Cade's hologram blinked out, her silence heavy with doubt. The Axiom Lance's containment chamber glowed brighter on the schematics, power draining from every non-essential system. Lights dimmed, the bridge bathed in a faint crimson glow. 60 seconds to full charge, Rook announced. Reactors are screaming, but holding. The ship shuddered, subunits hammering the shields. Blake's fingers dug into her chair. Every second counted. On a scarred Alarisian planet below, An elder knelt in a crumbling temple, her hands clasped in prayer. The human ship burned bright in the sky, a lone star against the reclaimer swarm. "They bring salvation," she whispered, "or they bring doom." Her voice trembled, torn between hope and fear of power too vast to comprehend. Dust fell from the temple's ceiling, shaken by distant tremors. Blake turned to Dr. Naomi Chen, who joined her on the bridge, her white medical blouse stark against the tactical displays. "Naomi, if we overuse the lance, what's the fallout?" Chen's petite frame stiffened, her patient eyes sharp. "Could destabilize the system's orbits. Planets might wobble for centuries." Blake nodded, filing it away. Risky, but so was letting Reclaimer Prime eat the stars. The sub-units breached the outer shield perimeter, their drills carving molten scars across the Titan's Mercy's hull. Alarms blared, quickly silenced by Rook. "Shields at 64%, a crewman called. Sweat beaded on his brow. Blake's voice cut through the chaos. "Another sheer volley. Thin them out." The ship pulsed again, gravitational blades slicing through the swarm. Hundreds of sub-units fell, but more poured from Reclaimer Prime, endless as a tide. 30 seconds, Rook said, his tone almost cheerful. "Lance is hot. Hope you're ready for fireworks." The bridge crew braced, hands gripping consoles. The ship groaned, reactors straining to feed the weapon. Blake's eyes flicked to the view screen. Reclaimer Prime filled it, its energy core pulsing like a heart of fire. Subunits swarmed thicker, their drills glowing brighter, hammering the shields relentlessly. The refugee pilot in his battered shuttle watched from afar, his children asleep in the back. The Titan's Mercy burned like a beacon, shields flaring under the onslaught. His hands shook on the controls. "Hold on," he whispered to himself as much as his family. The humans were fighting, but the swarm seemed endless. Hope felt like a cruel tease. Blake stood taller, her voice ringing out. "Lock the lance on Prime's core. We end this now." The crew moved as one, targeting systems aligning. The ship vibrated harder, the Axiom Lance's energy spiking dangerously. Warning lights bathed the bridge in red. 10 seconds, Rook said. "Brace for impact." Reclaimer Prime loomed closer, its subunits a writhing mass of steel and plasma. The Titan's Mercy stood its ground, a lone fortress in a storm of machines. Blake's grin was gone, replaced by a steely focus. The galaxy was watching, and she was about to rewrite its rules. Reclaimer Prime loomed closer, its massive form blotting out the stars, energy core emitting waves that jammed the Titan's Mercy sensors. Static danced across the view screen, tactical displays flickering. Captain Avery Blake gripped her command chair, her face set in grim determination. The bridge crew worked through the interference, hands flying over consoles to recalibrate. "Sensors stabilizing," Rook reported, his voice cutting through the hum. "But that thing's playing dirty." Blake's eyes narrowed on the beast ahead. Subunits swarmed thicker, their plasma drills gouging the shields. The ship bucked under impacts, alarms wailing briefly before being muted. "Enough games," she said, voice low and fierce. "Fire the Axiom Lance." The order hung in the air, a spark to the powder keg. The crew braced as the weapons containment chamber unleashed its fury. The Titan's Mercy trembled, a deep groan echoing through its frame. A beam of compressed energy lanced out, pure white fury piercing the void. It struck Reclaimer Prime's armor, drilling through layers of steel like paper. The core collapsed inward, folding into a micro-singularity, a pinpoint of infinite density sucking in light itself. The bridge lights dimmed further, the ship's reactors straining to their limits. The singularity dragged along a gravitational corridor, an invisible path engineered by the Lance. Reclaimer Prime lurched, its massive bulk twisting as the corridor pulled it toward the system's edge. Subunits spiraled in, caught in the grip, thousands vanishing into the maw. An energy jet erupted from the core, a blinding flash vaporizing the remnants in a wave of plasma fire visible across the star system. The view screen whited out for a heartbeat, then cleared to show the void where Prime had been. Commander Lyra Cade's hologram appeared, her crystalline eyes reflecting the afterglow. You banished it, she choked out, voice thick with awe. You brought the gods. Blake leaned back, wiping sweat from her brow, a faint smirk returning. Just good engineering, Commander, and a bit of luck. The reactors whined down, nearly overloaded, but Rook stepped in, stabilizing them with a series of overrides. That was moderately successful, he said, his dry wit intact. No critical failures. Yet. The crew exhaled, sharing nods and quiet laughs. The Alaris system shuddered, minor gravitational tremors rippling through, rattling planetary orbits like aftershocks from a quake. Blake's thoughts turned inward briefly. We saved them, but at what cost? The galaxy's watching us now. She shook it off, focusing on the tactical display. Scattered reclaimer husks floated, harmless debris. Status on the system? She asked. Stabilizing, Rook replied. Orbit's wobbling, but nothing catastrophic. Give it a few days and it'll settle. The crew shifted gears, prepping for the next phase. Dr. Naomi Chen's voice came over the comms. Medical bay's ready. We're set for refugees. Blake nodded to herself. Open the bays. Let's bring them in. Hangar doors groaned open below decks, shuttles launching to scoop up survivors from drifting ships and scarred planets. Out in the void, the refugee pilot stared at his view screen, his children stirring awake. The swarm was gone. The massive reclaimer Prime vanished like a bad dream. Tears stung his eyes. They did it, he whispered, hugging his family close. The Titan's mercy hung there, scarred but unbowed, a beacon in the dark. Hope bloomed, real and warm. Blake walked the bridge, clapping shoulders, her presence steadying the crew. Good work, all, but we're not done. Warnings still flickered, faint signals from reclaimer fragments. Rook scanned deeper. Survivors out there. Thousands. Injuries look bad. Blake's jaw set. Prioritize the worst. Chen's team will handle it. The first shuttles docked, cargo bays filling with Alarisians, pale blue skin, faceted eyes wide with a mix of gratitude and fear. Medics moved among them, treating burns, sealing wounds. Cade beamed in again, her voice stronger. Captain, we owe you everything. Blake waved it off. Save it for later. Get your people aboard. The system quieted, tremors fading into whispers. Blake stood at the view screen, watching the stars realign. The Axiom lance had worked, but its echo would ripple far. She turned to Rook. Full report to Earth. Let them know Alaris lives. The Titan's mercy floated amid the wreckage, a guardian in the aftermath. Refugees streamed in, the ship's halls echoing with alien voices. Blake allowed herself a breath, the weight lifting slightly, but the galaxy shifted underfoot, and she knew the real storm was just beginning. The Alaris system hung in fragile quiet, the void still echoing with the Axiom lance's fury. Dr. Naomi Chen moved through the Titan's Mercy's cargo bays, her medical teams a whirlwind of efficiency amid the chaos. 12,000 refugees streamed aboard, their pale blue skins marked by burns and radiation scars. Children wailed, elders slumped against bulkheads, the air thick with the scent of charred flesh and desperation. Chen knelt by a young Alarisian, her petite hands gentle as she applied a dermal regenerator. Easy now, she murmured, her voice a calm anchor in the storm. Commander Lyra Cade stepped aboard, her tall frame weaving through the crowds, crystalline eyes reflecting a mix of awe and fear. She found Captain Avery Blake in a quiet corridor, the hum of the ship's systems underscoring their meeting. Your help saved us, Captain, Cade said, her voice steady but laced with wonder. But what are you? Blake paused, wiping grime from her uniform, a wry smile tugging her lips. Just humans, Commander. We solve problems with a bang, sometimes a big one. Cade's gaze softened, but the fear lingered, a shadow in her faceted eyes. A bang that shook the stars. Blake nodded, no bravado now. Get your people settled. We've got room. The cargo bays transformed into makeshift hospitals, cots lining the walls, filled with the soft sounds of relief and muffled grief. Medics darted between patients, scanners beeping, hypo sprays hissing. An Alarisian mother clutched her child, whispering thanks to unseen saviors. Far across the galaxy, a galactic council observer hunched over a remote viewer, his tentacles twitching in unease. The human ship's display replayed on his screen, the lance firing, Reclaimer Prime vanishing in a blaze. Earth's mercy is a weapon in itself, he murmured, his voice a low rumble. The feed cut to refugees boarding, but the power behind it chilled him. What limits did these humans have? He filed his report, words careful, knowing the council would debate this for cycles. News of the victory rippled out, quantum relays carrying the tale to Earth and beyond. Cheers erupted in Alliance Command, but whispers of concern followed. On the Titan's mercy, Chen pulled Blake aside in a quiet medbay alcove. We've saved thousands, Avery, she said, her patient tone edged with worry. But the psychological scars? They'll last for generations. These people saw gods today, or demons. Blake rubbed her temples, the weight settling. We did what we had to. They live because of it. Rook's voice chimed over the comms, neutral but probing. Faint signals from reclaimer fragments, weak but persistent. They might not be fully gone. Blake's eyes sharpened. Scan the system. Full sweep. No loose ends. The crew jumped to it, sensors probing the debris fields. Fatigue etched on their faces, but focus unwavering. Rook plotted courses, highlighting potential threats, scattered husks that could reboot given time. The Alarisians began to rebuild in pockets, shuttles ferrying supplies to scarred planets under the Titan's Mercy's watchful guard. Gratitude flowed in waves, crystalline tokens offered, songs hummed in alien tongues. But unease tempered it all, eyes darting to the ship's massive form, whispering of humanity's overwhelming power. Cade oversaw a group settling in a bay, her leadership steady. We survive, she told them. Thanks to them. Remember that. Blake walked the halls, her boots echoing softly, crew nodding as she passed. The ship felt alive with new voices, a mix of human efficiency and Alarisian resilience. She paused at a viewport, staring at the stars. The sweep continued, Rook's updates steady. Fragments neutralized in sectors 3 and 7, more in 9. Blake keyed her comm. Take them out. Precision strikes only. The ship's point defenses hummed, lancing out to silence the remnants. Chen's teams worked on, exhaustion creeping in, but resolve holding. An Alarisian elder approached her, his voice frail. Your captain, she wields the power of creation and destruction. Chen smiled faintly. She wields what's needed. The elder nodded, retreating to his kin, the words hanging like a prophecy. The system stabilized further, orbits settling into new rhythms. Blake met with Cade one last time that shift, sharing a quiet meal in the mess. Your people will thrive, Blake said. Earth's aid convoys are en route. Cade's eyes gleamed. We're grateful, but the galaxy changes today. Blake leaned back, her wry smile fading. Change is what we do. The Titan's Mercy floated amid the healing chaos, a bastion of salvation wrapped in fear. Refugees healed, stories spread, and the stars watched, wary of the humans who bent them to their will. The Titan's Mercy hung in the Alaris system like a watchful sentinel, its scarred hull a testament to the battle's toll. Refugees settled into routines below decks, their voices a soft murmur blending with the ship's hum. At the Galactic Council, far across the stars, Ambassador Grace Ellison stepped into the vast chamber, her silver-blue robe flowing like liquid starlight. Representatives of 300 species turned their gazes, expressions a tangled mix of relief and suspicion. The air thrummed with alien languages, translators buzzing to keep up. Ellison took her place at the podium, holographic displays blooming with footage from Alaris, the Reclaimers' swarm, the Titan's Mercy's arrival, and the Axiom Lance's devastating strike. Earth helps completely, she declared, her voice echoing through the chamber's dome. No problems left behind. Applause rippled from some delegations, tentative and sparse. Others whispered in clusters, tentacles gesturing, eyes narrowing at the images of a star system reshaped by human might. The chamber buzzed louder, a reptilian delegate hissing concerns about unchecked power. Ellison met their stares, her polite demeanor laced with steel. We answered a call for aid, and we delivered. The whispers grew, species applauding humanity's intervention while fearing its implications. What if Earth turned that force elsewhere? The balance of the galaxy teetered, old alliances cracking under the weight. A delegate from a neutral species leaned back in his pod, his thoughts swirling. If Earth can do this, what stops it from ruling us all? His mandibles clicked softly, eyes flicking to the hollows. The Titan's mercy loomed large, a symbol of salvation wrapped in dread. He jotted notes for his report, the chamber's debates fading into background noise. Power like that changed everything, and not always for the better. Back on the Titan's mercy, Blake and Cade stood in a quiet observation lounge, the stars stretching endlessly beyond the viewport. We'll rebuild, Cade said, her crystalline eyes reflecting the light. But we'll never forget this. Your ship, it's a legend now. Blake sipped her coffee, her muscular frame relaxed but alert. Legends fade. Focus on your people. Cade nodded, a faint smile breaking through. And yours? What comes next for you? Rook's voice interrupted over the comms. System sweep complete. Clear of Reclaimer activity. His tone carried a warning note. But their origins, unknown. This may not be the end. Blake set her cup down, her wry smile returning. Noted. Keep scanning. The AI hummed acknowledgement, his sarcasm muted for once. Dr. Naomi Chen oversaw the refugee transfer in the hangars, her team moving with resolute efficiency despite the fatigue etching their faces. Shuttles ferried Alarisians to waiting ships, medics handing out final supplies. Take care, Chen told a group, her patient voice warm. An elder grasped her hand, whispering thanks in a tongue the translator caught as blessings of the stars. Chen squeezed back, then watched them go, her thoughts heavy with the lives mended and the scars unseen. Blake's comm pinged with a message from General Marcus Cole, his hologram flickering to life. You've made humanity famous, Blake, he said, his silver hair catching the light, his thin frame leaning forward. Be ready for the consequences. Blake crossed her arms, her grin faint. Fame's overrated, General. We just did the job. Cole's eyes softened. And scared half the galaxy doing it. Watch your back out there. The Titan's mercy prepared to depart, engines warming with a low rumble. The crew reflected in quiet moments, shared glances in the corridors, and nodded over meals. They'd reshaped galactic perceptions, turned a rescue into a statement. Blake walked the bridge, her boots steady, crew falling into familiar rhythms. Course for Earth? A navigator asked. Set it, she replied, but keep sensors wide. We're not done watching. Cade gifted Blake a crystalline pendant before the last shuttle left, its facets catching the light like captured stars. A symbol of our bond, Cade said, her voice earnest. Gratitude and a reminder. Blake clasped it around her neck, the cool weight a tangible link. Safe journeys, Commander. Call if you need us. Cade's shuttle detached, vanishing into the void, leaving Blake with the quiet hum of the ship. The system faded behind them as the Titan's mercy accelerated, hyperspace beckoning. Whispers of the event spread further, councils debating, species re-evaluating old foes and new allies. Blake stood at the view screen, the pendant cool against her skin, wondering what ripples their mercy would bring. The Titan's mercy emerged from hyperspace near Earth, its scarred hull catching the sun's glow like a returning warrior. Cheers echoed from the Alliance command base as the ship docked, crowds gathering on observation decks, faces pressed to viewports. Captain Avery Blake stepped off the ramp, her black and blue uniform crisp despite the grime, short blonde hair tousled from the journey. General Marcus Cole waited at the end of the platform, his silver hair neat, his thin frame straight in his gray uniform. He clasped her shoulder, his grip firm. "Welcome back, Blake." They walked to a quiet debrief room, hollows flickering with Alaris reports. Cole poured 2 drinks, sliding one across the table. "You saved Alaris," he said, his voice low, pragmatic as always. "But you've scared half the galaxy in the process." Blake took a sip, her wry smile faint. "Scared is better than dead, General. They called for help. We answered." Cole nodded, eyes distant. "True, but now every council's whispering about our mercy." "Watch the ripples." Genereus monitored her console at the deep space array, the familiar hum a comfort after the chaos. New signals trickled in, routine chatter, nothing like Alaris's scream. Her curiosity burned brighter now, tempered by the weight of what she'd witnessed. The Titan's mercy's log scrolled by, a tale of stars bent to human will. She leaned back, AR glasses slipping down her nose. "What next?" she murmured to the empty room. The stars stared back, silent witnesses. In the Alaris system, survivors began resettling their planets, Earth's relief convoys unloading 50,000 tons of supplies, prefab habitats, medical kits, and seeds for new growth. Shuttles buzzed like bees, Alaricians working side by side with human teams. Commander Lyra Cade oversaw a landing site, her crystalline eyes scanning the horizon. "We rise again," she told her people, voice steady. Gratitude mixed with unease. Memories of the Lance's fire lingering like smoke. At the Galactic Council, Ambassador Grace Ellison negotiated new treaties, her silver-blue robe a beacon amid the debates. She leveraged humanity's display, securing alliances with wary species. "Earth stands with its friends," she said in session after session, her tough politeness wearing down resistance. Delegates nodded, treaties signed, but eyes flicked nervously to hollows of the Titan's mercy. Power like that forged bonds, but also bred caution. Blake visited Dr. Naomi Chen in the ship's medical bay, now quiet after the refugee transfers. Chen sat at a console, reviewing logs, her white blouse rumpled from long shifts. "We saved lives, Avery," she said, looking up with a quiet smile. "Thousands breathing because of us." Blake leaned against the doorframe, sharing the moment. "Worth the scars?" Chen nodded. "Everyone." Their reflection hung in the air, a brief pause amid the hum. Rook's voice piped in over the speakers, ever sarcastic. "Humanity's reputation upgraded from curious apes to terrifying saviors." "Congratulations," Blake chuckled, shaking her head. "Thanks, Rook. Couldn't have done it without your charm." The AI hummed, a digital equivalent of a shrug. "Just keeping it real, Captain." The galaxy rewrote its diplomatic rules, envoys traveling with newfound wariness toward Earth's ability to intervene with devastating force. Old rivalries cooled, treaties flourished, all under the shadow of the Titan's mercy. Species whispered of humans who wielded God's tools, their mercy a double-edged blade. Borders shifted subtly, alliances formed not from trust alone, but from respect laced with fear. Blake stood on the bridge one last time before shore leave, staring at the stars beyond Earth's orbit. The crystalline pendant from Cade rested cool against her skin, a reminder of bonds forged in fire. She wondered if the next signal would bring salvation or conflict, her mind ticking through possibilities. The void offered no answers, just endless potential. Earth's mercy had saved Alaris, its power redefining the galaxy's balance, leaving hope and fear in equal measure. The Titan's mercy powered down in dock, its crew scattering to rest, but the stars whispered on, hinting at storms yet to come.